when I started 50 years ago, I had no idea that 50 years later I'd still be working. So it feels really, really good. And the thing is, because I'm still sort of wearing my boots, then I'm hoping that I will continue to work, because I've realized that acting is what I enjoy the most. So just by giving me the award, don't think the end is near. I intend to stay on uh, with my boots on, and I hope that the best is yet to come. I think it is the most fulfilling of all professions, because what acting gives you is the opportunity to inhabit the world of a character maybe you would never have met in life. So it gives you a chance to get insight into a past which normally you wouldn't have got. Then in the process also what happens is, to your character you can give the whole depth of your experience. So what you do as a person will be reflected to the depth you add to the character. That's why I say that it's very important for people who are interested in acting to expose themselves to classical music, to painting, to theatre, to reading, all of that, which might not give you immediate benefits, but what it does, it makes you expand your world. And the more you expand the world and the more experience you have of it, the more richness you will be able to give the character. So it's really very satisfying, because it's a two-way process. It was very interesting. I was working in college. Farooq Sheikh and I had started a Hindi theatre company, because at the time we were in Xavier's and they only had an English theatre group, and we were getting all the awards at all the intercollegiate drama. And that period I saw a film of Jaya Bhaduri, a film called Suman, which was a diploma film of the institute. And I was mesmerized, because I hadn't seen that kind of acting in Hindi cinema at all. And so then I said that, all right, this is something that I would like to do. And that's how I went into the institute. Although I must say that at that time also, I didn't know that I was going to be in the movies. I thought I would be in theatre. And there were completely flimsy reasons for my doing the course in Pune, because I actually wanted to work with Al-Qazi in NSD. But I'd heard that he was very strict, and I said, my God, if he doesn't take me, I'll feel very rejected, and for silly things like that. And also Delhi is very far away. So I said, all right, then I'll go to the institute and then I'll come back to theatre. But then what happened is, I started signing films when I was still at the institute, because at that time the film industry was quickly absorbing actors and technicians and all of that from the institute. And so it came as a complete surprise to me that I won the gold medal for best acting student, and 3 or 4 days later I was already working in my first film, which was Kantilal Rathod's Parinay. And then after that, it's just been smooth sailing, touch wood. So I always say that my career is about being at the right place at the right time. I did say that I've been very fortunate to be at the right place at the right time. But the fact is, I enjoy acting the most. And so I have tried to be as sincere and as dedicated to my profession as I was when I did my first film. I don't take anything for granted. I work very hard. Even now, when I'm doing a part, the first 4 or 5 days when it's churning inside me, I go through doubts, I go through, self-doubt particularly, And but then I finally do surrender to my director because I feel that a film is a director's medium. Benegal, certainly. Sham Benegal has been my guru in every way, not just in acting, but in the way I view the world, because I went abroad with him for Ankur to the Berlin Film Festival. And even the way he looks at a city, because I was this young, um, kid with stars in my eyes, wanting to run to the first shopping place, and I saw him asking the taxi driver the kind of questions that had never occurred to me, which was he wanted to know about the gardens, he wanted to know about the history, and he was so curious. He was also very well informed, and that sort of opened me up in different ways. Then when we went to the festivals, he would look up the films and he would say, let's watch this film for this reason. So he was really like a guru to me. It happened so spontaneously. And Robin Dalton called me up one day and said, Ruth Chabwala has suggested that basically this character was a Jewish character in the original novel. But she said, why don't we make her into an Indian? And so I was working at that time. I just flew for one day to London to meet the director, John Schlesinger, and both he and I fell in love with each other. But I had to come back for the shooting. So I came back, and then they said yes to me, etc. And then when I went for the shooting, the first couple of days I stayed with John Schlesinger before I had my apartment ready. And it was an amazing experience, and the reason I did it also was by then I had developed a reputation, and I felt that I will willingly put myself into a situation where nobody knows nothing about me, and it will be only on the basis of my work that people will recognize me, and I thought that was a good experience to have. You must realize that the background that I came from, where gender equality was a given between my parents, because my father was a member of the Communist Party. We lived in the commune till I was 9 years old. My mother was a working woman, and so gender equality I took for granted as a given, and it was only when I turned about 19 that I realized that that was the exception rather than the rule, and that took me by surprise also. Just see, that was the time Ankur became the beacon of light of parallel cinema, and because it did so well commercially, what it did is open up a whole spate of completely different paths for women. That's why I say I was at the right place at the right time, because then suddenly, because the film had been successful, more and more people started making those kinds of films. So it was really left to the art cinema to give agency and substantial parts to women, because in the mainstream cinema it was usually just the song and dance routine. No, it's not something so lofty. It is whether it interests me or not, whether I think it's well worth giving a year of my life to that. So see, the last 2-3 years have been very satisfying, because in the same year to be able to do Ghumar and Rocky or Rani and Spielberg's Halo, how many people get that opportunity? So obviously I grabbed it with both my hands. But I'm interested in working with younger directors. I'm also interested in working in mainstream cinema, provided it is a person with teeth. Oh, it's just absolutely fabulous. Javed keeps telling me I never see you so relaxed and so happy, except when you're with your girl gang. Because I think in the beginning, they're all much younger than me, and in the beginning when they work with me, they come with ideas and notions, and then they realize I'm not like that at all, that I am a fun person and I relate with them, and I repeatedly have that experience with my girls. I love women, I really, really love all kinds of women. I'm interested in them, and with all these young girls, they make so much fun of me, they laugh at me, we have a ball, and I make them do all kinds of silly things that they really enjoy. That's the best time I have. No, it's so easy being an actor. It is so easy that when I think of directing a film, so many people have asked me, oh my God, I find it so intimidating to work on a script and to bring everybody to the same level, because I think the challenge of a director is you take in your team people whom you respect creatively and then you bring them on board. But how do you get them on the same level of passion that you have? So that has to be a lot of. But I really do look forward to working with Zoya and Farhan both. I think it's very important to have women directors, but they should have a lens that is feminine, because for far too long it has been just the male gaze. We need to have the woman's gaze, and it is not necessarily just the feminist gaze, but the feminine gaze, because I think men and women are different, and how they view the world. It's not necessary that if you're a woman you will only make a feminist film. You can make a thriller, you can make a comedy, you can make romance, but it's through a woman's lens, I feel.